Breaking news coming at you out of Ewood Park as Gregg Broughton, a.k.a. the Director of Football for Blackburn Rovers, has been fired. That's right, relieved of his duties. Hot off the press. When I say hot off the press, it's been a couple of hours, so it's I've been digesting the news. I don't think it's not settling down well in the back of my throat. I think this one is a bad one. Of course, it's been a whirlwind of a season. Of course, not even 7 days since we last kicked the ball. The news is it's terrible. It's terrible. Of course, coming at you, I'll show you where I'm reading this. I'm reading this from the BBC's website. If I can get into it, there I am. Down the foot there. So it is confirmed by British, the broadcasting, whatever you might call it, the BBC. Mutual decision, my foot. So what does that mean? Well, it means that, has he been made a scapegoat? What I read on Twitter was that there was possibly a difference of opinion between Gregg and the direction the hierarchy want the club to be. So who's right, who's wrong? Of course, we can look at this in a couple of ways. We can look at it as in a way that, if you look back at the two transfer windows, or the 2 seasons, of course, multiple transfer windows, but there's January 2023 transfer window, when, of course, we were looking at Lewis O'Brien and scuppered that deal and made a right old arse out of it there. Then, of course, fast forward to the summer transfer window of 2023, when we were just making really limited signings, limited additions, and of course forced into maybe a panic buy with Samir Telolovic. Of course, all those decisions realistically do stem from the Director of Football. He's in charge of those departments within Blackburn Rovers that are not necessarily on the turf. But of course, the hierarchy, the recruitment, the academies and things like that. So those do stem from, of course, the Director of Football, and of course, at that time, during those 2 transfer windows, 2023 and 2024 summer, Jon Dahl Tomasson was our manager. Now, since then, of course, we've had another transfer window, January 2024, and that, of course, aligned in with the realignment, of course, of the manager or the head coach department of Blackburn Rovers. We saw goodbye to Jon Dahl Tomasson and, of course, said hello to John Eustace. But again, the transfer window of January was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? We of course, we did sell Adam Wharton for what believed to be a good chunk of money, which, of course, now it looks like we might have been robbed with our pants down, of course. But we also made another goof with the Duncan Maguire transfer shenanigans. And again, you can look at some key members of the recruitment staff, or at least the financial side of things, that did make this one another a cluster, if for want of another word. Of course, it made us laughing stocks within the AFL, made us laughing stocks across the pond here in the USA, and to get a deal which could have projected us in the right direction, goals-wise, it made us look absolutely foolish. You can look at it that whichever way you like. Of course, it could be maybe a change of coach, change of personnel, and perhaps maybe we didn't want to go in line with those signings, and that's why that never happened. But regardless, heads needed to roll, and subsequently we were made aware that some personnel within the financial side of things had been relieved of their duties. I think Sylvester is the name. The financial secretary was moved on, and now it's come down to Gregg Broughton. Of course, why is it taking so long? Of course, I think we were just trying to get through, or the Rovers were just trying to get through the season, and then maybe start to readdress the future and which way we were going. And I believe Gregg Broughton does not fit the direction in which Waggett and of course his cronies want to go. So for me, I've always thought Gregg Broughton has come across as a nice guy, footballing guy, and of course a man who's he's been around a little bit. He's experienced European football, Norway, Scandinavia, and stuff like that, and perhaps maybe bringing in Gregg Broughton was a part of a plan that had John Dahl Tomasson in full focus, of course. And now that John Dahl Tomasson is not here, maybe the Gregg Broughton and appointment will not sit right with John Eustace. Maybe John Eustace and Gregg Broughton, that relationship is not going to work as fluid as it would have done with JDT at the helm, and perhaps maybe we're going to. My understanding is from again folks on Twitter that a replacement will be sought after for John Dahl Thomas for Gregg Broughton. Sorry, so the director of football will still remain, and of course John Eustace will of course continue as a head coach as Blackburn Rovers. So for me though. I've always appreciated Gregg's words on Blackburn Rovers. He's always come across as a man who wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's always come across as clear as possible with in regards to situations that have transpired in his time. Of course, the responsibilities of those failed transfer windows do ultimately rely on his head. So someone has to take the fall. I just was hoping it wasn't going to be him, but that's where it is right now. So Gregg is no more. But is this the start of something else? Can we get our hopes up that maybe the CEO will be changed at some point? I don't think so. I think that Waggett's got his feet well and truly under the table at Blackburn Rovers, and he will not be going anywhere. It's his calls at the moment. He's calling all the shots. And of course, I think he's at the helm at making this decision. You can, of course, read for yourself about this latest development at Ewood Park. It does talk about Ian Sylvester as well, the club secretary, also being relieved of his duties earlier in the calendar year. But unfortunately, Gregg the Egg, as it's been labelled by a lot of the Rovers fans, will be no more at Blackburn Rovers. I don't think it sits well with me, this one. I liked Gregg. I thought he at least provided a bit of communication between the fans and some of the recruitment staff. However, there was some crickets flying around, tumbleweed perhaps after the Duncan Maguire collapse. We didn't hear from him for over a month. And when we did hear from him, it wasn't really crystal clear as to what was going on. And even now, some of the comments that were made by whether it was Waggett or whoever about the Duncan Maguire and trying to revive that transfer, it does seem that that's gone fallen on our dead ears. And I don't think we will. I don't think we're going to revisit that signing. If we do, I'll be well surprised and gobsmacked. But there are a lot of speculation on Twitter and other social media platforms about Gregg's departure. Of course, some people are saying that there's no money for transfers, or we're going to be, making ends meet in the future, and we're relying on pretty much what we have. And if anything, it will be free transfers once again, which doesn't bode well for a championship season where, of course, we just held on by the skin of our teeth. And again, I don't know where I sit on this one. I liked Gregg. I hope that an appointment is in flux and happening soon, because I don't want us to be in limbo land yet again over the summer. This is the building blocks for the future here and now. We don't want to be twiddling our thumbs and trying to, this is what, getting a new guy in on the last, weeks or so before the kickoff of the season. We need somebody in now. So if this decision has been made, hopefully it's been made with good intention to bring somebody in, and when that somebody does come in, I'll hope to bring you the news about that. But that's it. Of course, breaking news. It is 8 p.m. here in the US. I just wanted to get you my thoughts and opinions about that. I want to know your thoughts and opinions about Gregg's departure. Are you happy about it? Are you sad about it? I'm a little bit pissed about it, because like I said, I did like Gregg, and I thought he was at least gave me some clarity on some transfer scenarios. But again, we do have to turn our clock back to those messed up transfer windows, which, the Lewis O'Brien, it could have been the difference maker between ourselves and from 7th place to 6th place. And Duncan Maguire could have been the difference between the fact of a relegation fight or a mid-table finish. So they do have to those responsibilities lie on the director of football. So we've got to look at that, but we've also got to look at the fact that Waggett's still here, unchallenged, and of course he doesn't look like he's going anywhere. Subscribe, smash the like. I'll see you soon for the next.